Welcome, my brothers and sisters, to the Veteran Show. I'm your host, Levi Miller, and my co-host is the famous Thomas Lukin. Yeah, Thomas, how you doing today?
Not too bad. Staying busy. Glad to get the show going again. It's already been a week.
Okay, yeah,
So,
okay.
I've been ready to get on again.
Okay.
So,
Well, before we get started, Thomas, I've been looking at your Facebook page. I seen that pretty dog, that grandbaby you got. I know you already spoiled her, right?
I'm sorry, the grandbaby. I didn't catch the last part. I apologize.
I seen that pretty grandbaby that you got.
Yeah.
And I know she's spoiled because I know you done spoiled her.
She's a sweet thing. Actually, her name is Violet Nabi. Her middle name's Korea.
Oh, good. Oh, wow.
Korean for butterfly.
Okay. Wow, that's something.
That was my son's doing. Of course, my wife calls her Nabi, being my wife's Korean. So.
Okay. All right then.
So, but yeah. No, she's a sweetie. So the family loves her. So I just worry about when she gets older, because between her dad and her Uncle Jeff, boy's gonna have a rough time.
I know what you mean. Well, last week, Thomas, we talked a lot about Korea, being up on the DMZ.
Yes.
And I know we got a host coming on to today. And the host's name is Mark. I can't pronounce his last name. What is his last name, Thomas?
Mark Heathco. Yeah, Mark, he's offered, he's working on his third book, but his first book is actually about the DMZ, one of his missions on the first patrols, and talking about all the way up through the patrol, but it's called, the book is called Call Sign Purple 3.
Uh-huh.
And he also wrote, which is a non-fictional book. His second book is called Defcon 4, Korea, Land of the Morning Calm, which is pretty much a fictional book. But Mark, and he's doing the same with the third book he's working on, which I'll let Mark decide how much he wants, the details he wants to give.
Okay.
I do know that Mark has taken, even his fictional books, he's taken the experience from being off the DMZ and adding it to the stories, and from experience, and so. But no, the book 3 is an excellent book to read. It gives you what it's like to prepare your squad and run an actual patrol.
Yes.
And it just really gives you the details of what goes on. So it's very interesting, and it brought for me, Grant, it brought back some things that I haven't thought about. So,
yes.
But I highly recommend the book. And you can find it on Amazon.com and Barnes and Noble and so on. I'm sure Mark will go in more in details. But Mark was actually 11 Hotel.
Okay.
His MLS. He was a tow gunner, basically, as they call him. Tow missile crew.
Yeah, tow missile, right?
Whatever it was. And so, but Mark was 11 Hotel, which is infantry, that fires tows, so people understand. But no, it's an excellent book to read. And Defcon 4 is interesting, and like I said, I've only read parts of it. I still haven't read personally, but if Mark wrote Defcon 4 like he did the first book, it's excellent reading.
Yeah, that first book was a good book.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about his third book, and I'm helping out with some information, some details. So, and like he trusts my memory. I don't know. If he trusts my memory, he's in trouble.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. Let's take a quick break here, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna bring Mark on and let him tell about his book and everything.
And then we can drill him.
Oh yeah, let's drill him then, Thomas. Okay. All right, man. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back.
My experience with USAA is awesome. Homeowners insurance, life insurance, automobile insurance. I spent 20 years active duty. They still refer to me as gunnery sergeant when I call. Being a USAA member because of my service in the military. To pass that on to my kids, something that makes me happy. My name is Roger Zapata and I'm a USAA member for life.
USAA. We know what it means to serve. Get an insurance quote and see why 92% of our members plan to stay for life.
Welcome back to the Veteran Show. All right, today we got a kind of famous author with us today. And I'm going to let Mr. Thomas Lucan bring him in. Thomas.
Yes, we have author Mark Heathco on with us today. Mark is also a DMC vet and Korean DMC vet. And Mark is, like we mentioned before, he's already done two books, I apologize, on the DMZ, and is working on the third book. So, Mark, you're on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk about the DMZ and the books that I wrote. I really appreciate the time that you guys are giving me to represent our vets and to represent what I've done. I've written two books. The first book is called Call Sign Purple 3. And that's an autobiography. That's an actual event story, okay, that talks about what we went through. Every DMZ vet that was up there had to go through those steps to get out, to get into the DMZ to patrol. And then I wrote a second book called Defcon 4, Korea Land of the Morning Come. Now this is the facts in it, most of it is true. So I had to cover it up and write it as a fiction book. And some of it's some of it's not true, but most of it's true, okay? But it's a very action-packed, short-packed book, okay?
Okay.
I think it'd be great to read it. You guys that have been up on the Z, you probably like reading it. It probably brings back a lot of memories. And those folks that don't know about the DMZ or have never heard about it, it's probably going to be very, very educational to them, to know our sacrifices that we made. Yeah?
Yeah, well, and you're started on the third book, too. Have you got a name for it yet, Mark?
Yeah, I have a third book I'm working on right now. I'm just getting into it. It's a espionage book about North Korea and how they've infiltrated the South Korean, at least up in Area 1 in the DMZ area, and probably throughout Korea. They've had 50 years to do it, or over 50 years to do it, to put their network in place and put people on post where there's an exchange of money for information, and they generate their money through prostitution and human trafficking, and they're using, it goes all the way up into this era that starts back in 86, the book, and then it pushes on up into 2017 where they've actually got military folks in the U.S. Army that are getting paid by the North Koreans. They're in Korea. They have a facade on. They have a mask. They're acting like they're U.S. soldiers, but they actually work for the North Koreans. Wow. And they have access to our spy satellites, to get technology on the United States. And that carries over into the United States that, you know, how people deroach from the States and come to America. Well, that's what happened in the story. One of these folks is a sergeant major that's involved in this, and he goes to Fort Campbell, and he starts up the same kind of network there in Campbell, but it's already in place by the North Koreans. He just got to fit in and start pumping the information to them using the satellite technology, and he sets up a prostitution ring to generate money for it, and he's also getting paid by the North Koreans. And he's using the guys that are married to Koreans, he's using them to put them into the club system that his wife has organized. His wife's Korean. She's the one that was confronted by the North Koreans and took the bargain and got him involved. But she set up her own little ring there in Campbell, but he almost gets caught. And he evacuates and heads up to Dayton, Ohio, where he settles in with a corporation there that was affiliated way back in 86 and 30 years ago back in Korea. He was affiliated with them, okay, with the spy ring. And they kind of hide him in that local union. and he works for this union as a vice president. He cuts his hair, loses some weight, changes his what he looks like, and he starts it up again in Dayton, Ohio. And this union president that's working for him, or the union president that has him, they are like in cahoots with each other. They're both the same players. Okay, they've been working for the North Korean. It turns out that the union president's been using that corporation's satellites to spy on South Korea and turn it around to the North, give it back to the North Koreans. So this guy fits right in with what he wants. So he's hiding him, and they start up a prostitution ring using the union hall as a front to generate money for the union, but they're also getting paid by the North Koreans because now they've got the capabilities to spy on U.S. installations. All our minimum inside threat, our missile curtain for if we ever attack nuclear, they've got access to hit these places, and they've got people on the ground that are Korean or American that can be within 100 yards of that installation.
Well, when you say when they go to Dayton, Ohio, but people got to realize Wright-Patterson used to be a very active Air Force base at one time. It's probably a museum now, but that's where Wright-Patterson's located. And hell of a museum to see, by the way, if nobody's been there. Geez, it's growing. I remember going there 40 years ago, and it's a lot bigger now than it was 40 years ago. So I just wanted to throw that out there, Mark, so people know. Because, it's not unusual to find, as we said years ago, where you got a GI base, you had Korean. Because a lot of GIs have been married to Koreans. Well, look at a couple of us here.
Yeah, the deal with Wright-Patterson in the story, okay, and they'll probably be in the story, I got to put it, is supposedly, this is rumor control, is that the Union Hall has tunnels, underground tunnels, because during the war, like when they were World War I, War II, they used to make all the rifles. This company used to make all the rifles that they used in the war, and they used to rail car them under the city to Wright-Patterson where they could get them on aircraft and get them out. Supposedly.
Okay.
So this corporation that I'm talking about now is Automotive Corporation. That's the front they use.
Oh, no. No, I'm being a smart aleck. I says that tunnel number 5. They have 4 well-known tunnels in Korea. For the local tunnels, a lot of them were found through the 70s.
I'll tell you a secret about your tunnels.
Okay.
Yeah. Is he still there?
This was the CIA there at that talk and the NSA. There's 150 tunnels.
Wow.
That are coming through that little sector right there. Anywhere large enough to put 3 tanks abreast to 2 men in a tunnel. And my thing is, the way these tunnels always used to, they talked about them because they said they could never find out where the exit point was at.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be great to just have them come out in a minefield and clear a lane? And if nobody goes in them, nobody goes in the minefield because the minefields are out there. But what if there's no mines there? They're just got to drop the dirt and come out.
Right. I know what you mean. Oh, and by the way, we got my friend Garcia on the line. Garcia, are you on?
Yes, sir. I sure am.
Okay. Could you tell a little about yourself, and we're gonna get back with Mark on his book.
Well, I served on the DMV in 1979 through 1980, all of that 10 weeks, and that was my first actual Iowa team experience as a young 20-year-old.
Okay.
When I first got into the country, the first thing that I noticed when I got out of the airport, Temple Airport, they had a shuttle, a bus that was taking us to Cape, with the over, the fields, the right fields, how they had they cheated the that the manure that they use for fertilizer, I should say, that they use for the right side. And I have been to Mexico, and there's some parts that are pretty, dirty. But when I got to Korea, I thought all of Korea was like a slum. But then when I started going to the right side,
Right.
I started understanding the culture. I was amazed and seeing the folks working. And to me, it was like, wow, I see this on TV. I'm actually seeing it live. Another culture, how they live and survive that world. And seeing the beautiful people, the countryside, the hills.
Can you talk up, Garcia? Talk up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was saying that I was so amazed with the countryside that it just was amazing. It woke my eyes up. And then, I told me, well, guess what? This is not Kansas. I came from the stateside unity for Carson. And during my time at Carson, the training there was more, I don't know. To me, the training during that time, during the 70s, because Vietnam had just ended, it was, to me, it seemed like the military didn't know how to deal with us, us new recruits. I know that we have a mission that we got to be ready for. But stateside training was nothing realistic to prepare me when I went overseas. And I didn't know that until I got to my duty station in Korea. When they said, Garcia, you're going on patrol. And that was like, what? Because, stateside, we did, at Carson, we were mechanized. They said, we're going on patrol, okay? My thoughts were, okay, we're going to walk. No, you're in APC. You're driving around from point A to point B, then you get out, then you occupy a ridge and come back. That was the training that we had, and to me, that was, how can I say, it was not really beneficial for me. It hindered me more than helped me. Because I was just there, the rest partners were just there, kind of just take it day by day, because they would tell us, okay, this is your fuel fire, all the infantry stuff that you're supposed to learn, and they teach you. But to actually do it was I gotta say, it was just too bland. But Korea definitely woke my butt up. When they told me I was going on my first patrol, I was going on my first ambush patrol, and I thought to myself, man, I'm going to have to kill someone tonight if I have to.
Oh, yeah.
One or two. And when they start giving you, giving you ammunition, and then you start seeing the grenades being passed out, codes being issued out, like medevac, and this is the real deal, But and this is what I hated, is that the stateside never prepared me for this kind of situation. To actually run a patrol or be involved in a combat patrol, it was more of, like I say, it was mechanized, just staying in the APCs, you 113s, going from point A to point B, and then when you have to walk, it's like maybe a click, 1,000 meters, and that's nothing. It's just, you're just following the leader in front of you, your squad leader. So, okay, we're going this way. Boom, he uses out. But there was no real training for the individuals. And the school, like I said, because of Vietnam, everybody was, they're transferring over after Vietnam. What do we do? They're trying to reorganize the whole military system.
That's correct.
And a lot of us were confused, on the training. Like, what are we doing? But, like I said, Korea, 20-year-old, when I got there, I was the old man already after 1 month of being there. I'm a 20-year-old. I get dead pumped. Shoot. But there's some
Hey, Alfred.
joy.
Hey, Alfredo. I kind of said that when, you know, it's like I was talking to Mark earlier today. I said when you got over in Korea, there was nothing really prepare you for the real mission or tell you. You know, you hear the stories from the guys who were there and came back, or came back to the States. But, you know, I know my first time in Korea in 83, 84 was an eye-opener, you know. Of course, by the way, Kansas, I went to Kansas. In 87, I was back with the Cavs, and I was glad to go back to Korea in 87. I hated 3 years in Kansas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's, but, yeah, I you know, after Vietnam and, you know, with the Carter in there, with the major drawdown of the military, I know from a lot of guys that told me in the, you know, late 70s up to when I came in the early 80s said, you know, it was such of a mess with the military at the time.
It worked, Thomas. I came in I went there in '69, so it was a mess.
Oh yeah, when the drawdown came in the States after Vietnam was a bigger mess. You
Right.
know, it really was. Of course, you know, manpower I think was still an issue because when you were there, I know you said it, and others have that manpower was an issue in Korea in the late '60s during Vietnam.
Yeah, we were very short.
But even when they had the drawdown, so because Carter, if I remember right, back in the mid '70s, Carter wanted to pull majority of our troops out of Korea 40 years ago.
Right.
And of course, as we know, it took a while for that to happen. Of course, he gave up Panama on us too, but oh well. But yeah, so if you don't mind, I want to jump over back to Mark. I sorry for cutting you off, Alfredo, but I want people, Mark to give his experience and how much time he was over there, so people know. You know, in the books he's writing, he's well experienced in all this. I mean, Mark did more than just 1 year. So if Mark could go ahead and explain, you know, go ahead and give what years and units he was with, especially up on the DMZ. Because Mark has got a wide range of experience for running patrols and being up in 3rd Brigade TOC at Camp House. And see, after your time, Levi, you know, when he got rid of 7th ID, 3rd Brigade ended up taking over Camp House.
Okay.
So, but go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, well, I got there in November of '78, and I went to a special option at the top of Camp House. It was the Echo Company 38. It was a tow company. We had 38 gun jeeps, and our mission was to go north to the river and set up in hard positions and hold those positions for 72 hours without, we're not supposed to break, but we had fallback points. But they wanted us to hold while everybody, the JSA and 19 could get back across the river, and everybody that was north, which was, you know, as you know, we were just a speed bump. They were just going to blow by us. The river would have held them up, but they would eventually have to cross it. We had some patrols that we did up there. In those years that I was up there in the early years, wow. I went up there and in 2 weeks I was in a firefight. That woke my ass up. My guy said I could die out here. And I could have killed my brother-in-law because he's the one that said, go to Korea, you'll love it. It's a great tour, okay? Don't go to Germany. Go to Korea. And I went to Korea. Where was I at? In the DMZ in 2 weeks. I was hugging the ground and huffing and puffing and just shooting everywhere. I don't know what happened that night, but it just happened. So, but I learned from my experiences and learned how to overcome that. I started out as an RTO, and then I went to become an assistant patrol leader, and then became a patrol leader. I had 385, I call them combat patrols, and the reason I say that is because when we left 128, Guard Post 128, that's like a friendly forward line, okay? And we went into a no man's land, a hostile area, okay?
Right.
And we were fully combat loaded per individual as a patrol, as a 12-man patrol. And
That's so true.
Your gunnery return book, because I did. It's something else. And I did that from 78 to 86. I was with First 17th. I was with First 38th, First 31st. Did a little stint with the JSA. Did a little stint with First and 5th. Did I say First 38? I was with them over at Hovey.
Okay.
And then I spent time from 86 to early 90 or late 91, the summer of 91, at 3rd Brigade Tactical Operations Center, which controlled the DMZ. The Sergeant Major that I worked for before at the 38th, Sergeant Major Rogers, he said he needed my info or my input in that talk because they had a bunch of, I'm not cutting the commo guys out, but they had a bunch of guys that never been up on the DMZ and couldn't relate to what was being channeled back to them as to what, you know, when a light colonel calls you and asks you, hey, what do I need to do? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And they've never actually been up there and don't know what's going on.
Okay, hey, Mark, I don't want to cut you off, but when you were the First 38, was that still Camp Dodge? Because it was Camp Dodge when I was there.
No, I was at Camp Hovey with First 38, and then Edco Company, that special ops company, was at the top of Camp House. We were part of the Thunderbolt Lightning mission with 2nd Tank or 1st Tank, can't remember, Alpha Company.
Okay.
And we would do that mission like twice a month or 3 times a month with the rocks, and it's a 72-hour mission. So, and we would go across. Everybody says that armor never went across the river. I'm telling you right now, straight up, we went across the river with armor. And Edco Company, the bridging platoon up there on the DMZ from up there at Pelham or wherever they were at RC4, throw up a pontoon bridge and we drive across it. Big boys were in the Z.
Right.
Inside the Z, but they were right up to where Kitty Hawk was at.
Hey, Levi, on the Camp Dodge, I think like we talked before, you know, remember when 7th ID left Korea in 71, they moved about a good, you know, 2 brigades and some support elements down to Camp Casey and occupied Casey and Hovey.
Okay.
Which are together, if you remember.
Right.
Hovey's on the backside. Yeah, but it's had a few nicknames that, you know, Hovey Cut or whatever. There's a break in between. It's actually a little training area, basically. But, and, you know, so I would imagine Dodge probably closed down because I bet you the First of the 38 move up the, since Mark was up there 8-9 years later, First of the 38 probably moved to Hovey along with that part of the brigade.
Okay, so that's what happened. Okay.
So,
yeah, they were at Hovey. 123 was their Tomahawks.
Yeah.
They were also at Hovey.
Yeah, I was the First at 38, Company B.
Yeah, we told when I talked to you earlier, Levi, you were telling me and you, we could shoot the same guy. We shoot the same dirt, brother.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
You went up there, you went up on the land, and you had a different name for it, Doug, but it's a land when I knew it, and Collier, and you had 2 other names for him.
Yeah, it was.
Just from the areas that they go, I guess.
Yeah, it was Katie. Katie was on the left, and Lucy's was on the right. Lucy's was the closer one. You know, you could see. You could see Pam and John from there, and close to the North Korea. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was a Let, and then the other one, Kitty, was a Collier. Yeah.
There you go.
That's filling the blanks for me now.
And you know.
I worked at the camps and posts and camps. It's like the camps. Me and Mark, when you and I discussed this too, Levi, but it's like Liberty Bell and Kitty Hawk somewhere in the mid '80s. Is when they 85, I guess, 86. They changed. Mark, you thought it was 86, did you? When they changed, maybe it was later. They some point in the 80s they changed the names of those 2 to Boniface and Barrett. They saw the 2 officers that were killed.
In 87, I think 87 they changed Kitty Hawk to Boniface. I think.
Okay.
I thought they had found that somewhere on the internet. They changed it to Boniface or something.
Yeah, and the other one went to Lieutenant Barrett, or I guess he was Captain Barrett posthumously. So,
Can I ask you guys a question? Does anybody get mad when they say, nowadays when we're talking about the DMZ, or even when we were in the DMZ, how come, can somebody tell me how come, and I'm not against our brothers at the JSA, okay, because I serve with them. But why do they get identified as being in the DMZ? I know they're in the DMZ, but why do they get called the DMZ vets? Why are they identified as the main characters? They're like the main characters in this. Like, we never existed. Like, we never did that. Like, they've been there the whole time. And I know they have, but they only patrolled in the early 70s up to like 84, 85. They patrolled the Maka A.
Right.
Okay, or the Maka B, excuse me. Okay, they patrolled that little area. A little bitty area right there in front of Taysong along the riverbed, the Booze No Return, and they came back up to checkpoint 4, which is right there at the Pentagon, okay?
Well, Mark, you know why that were, because, you know, like the United States, you know, it's a lot of people that came up on DMZ, but, you know, me and Tom was talking about the VA, they're trying to keep that money down. You know, like I said, we wasn't the only group up there. We wasn't the only infantry group up there. We had people from down south also was on the DMZ. But the VA just want to give us a couple of units credit. And, you know, and I know and Thomas know it was more than, you know, just us, the infantry, you know, First 38th, First 23rd, you know, up on that DMZ.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of pissed me off now, because just like the Agent Orange, they was saying that only a certain outfits, like the one I was in, you know, got the Agent Orange, but Agent Orange was all over the country. And like Tommy was saying, like the water, we drinking the water, we eating the noodles with water, you know, we bathing in it, and the water go down, you know, the Agent Orange go downhill, you know, so everybody even close around there, you know, got in contact with the Agent Orange.
Well, in my booth, I try to identify 2 ID units as being the ones. We were the real deal. We weren't no show doing tours and, you know, doing people like that. We were in the mud, walking through rice paddies, you know, and then rice paddies had leeches in them. So,
oh yeah, that's true.
You had to be careful sometimes.
We had a lot of patrols. We had a lot of soldiers coming up from the south. Also did patrols up the DMZ, but even though they didn't get credit for it, but they was there also too.
Well, what you're saying is, I remember a lady talking on. I met her on the Facebook, and it rung a bell to me, but I didn't know that. We had a group come through one time while I was up at the Warrior Base.
Right.
These guys had no tags. They had no name tags, no
That's
name, no rank, no unit identifier, and they're no degrees. Helmets, hard helmets, you know, the old helmet type stuff, and they walked into the DMZ.
Oh yeah,
okay?
oh yeah.
And these guys, from later years now, I found out. It turns out that CIA was running patrols or they were hand-peeping people down there at 8th Army.
Yes, they were.
And trucking them up there. And the name of these folks, I think, was called Ghost Walkers or something. I'm not. I think it was Ghost Walkers.
It was Ghost Walkers.
Well,
that shocked me when I found what I heard.
Well, I think, Mark, that's a spillover from Vietnam, because they had Ghost Walkers also in Vietnam.
Yes.
I believe. So, and,
I don't know.
but, you know, you also had...
these guys on the truck, they wouldn't talk to us at all.
What's that?
These guys were on the truck. We tried to say hi or something. They wouldn't even talk to us or anything. They're all cameled up and ready to go, and they just pulled in. They did something at Warrior Base, and then they left. So maybe they talked to the commander. I don't know what they did, but I was too new at my job to know what they're doing. So
you also had SF that was over there, was based out of Yongsan down in Seoul.
yeah,
And
they were.
I've had a couple of friends who were assigned down there at different times over the years. And a friend of mine back in the 90s, when I was a contractor, Mike Wingo was his name. He retired from SF over there. He was SF. But he used to run up to TDC to party his way around. You know, because a lot of guys, I've known guys years back, you know, they would come up from Yongsan to get away from there and want to go to, of course, if anybody remembers TDC in the 70s and 80s, it was a wild west there in the middle.
Oh yeah.
So was Topper, Mark and his midget. But, sorry, Mark.
And you know what's it called, Hooker Hill down there now?
Yeah. We
Hey,
We call it turkey. We call it turkey farm.
I was out there last year, Mark.
Hey, Garcia, we call it turkey farm when we was there.
Years ago.
Yeah, years ago, right there. Yeah, our RC1 there.
Mark, you did years ago, right? Alfredo? The turkey farm.
Yes,
Years ago?
that's what we called it when I was there.
Yes, sir.
Well, see, now this all these little villages that you're talking about, Yazigo and all that, in that third book that I'm writing, we're going to try and incorporate some kind of intel ring there. You know, GIs get a little tipsy and a little drunk there, and their mouth becomes loose.
Oh yeah,
And they get in there and get paid money for it, and just, without getting drunk, they need money to get drunk, so they tell them something's going on and get money from some people and go get drunk. You know what I mean?
Well, sadly, back in the early 80s, Yazigo was in the Guinness Book of World Records.
You kidding?
No, it was. Yeah, I remember that.
ISPD rate per capita.
Oh yeah, well turkey farm up there. They have a buffet of sexual diseases. You get any kind of disease you want right up in turkey farm.
Yeah, well, as the 80s went on, especially when I was with 47 Cabs and 517, they pushed hard for people to stay out there. Plus, the Rocks didn't really want you there because they got to the point the turkey farm was pretty much there dedicated to the Rock,
Oh, yeah.
the Rock military. That's why I was there. It kind of is because it's so close to the DMZ is to satisfy the Rock military at the time.
You're right.
So, because Yazigo kind of middle of nowhere, and because as we all know from experience, you have Rock camps like you did American camps at one point all over Korea.
There you go.
And, north of Sweejanbu there, and all the way over past Pocheon, there was a heavy military presence there, naturally the Rock Army.
Mm-hmm.
Back to your first book, Mark. It was based on your patrol when you went on patrols in '86, right? Purple 3.
Yeah, it was 85. I based it on the 85. I was at First 38th at the time. I'd been there since 84, and I just picked the date. I just picked the date 85 and kind of chronologically walked for what patrol. I didn't do a bunch of patrols on that book. Just getting the prep, the training, or what do you call it? The prep, and then the training for it, and then the execution, and then the inspections, and then double checking, and then rehearsals before you go out, and then you actually go out on the patrol. And then we had an event in that book where something happened and left you wondering, and at the end of the book. So.
Well, you were very detailed. You're very detailed in the book, and I know when I asked you about it, because I've talked to a couple other people, and it's like we're sitting there, well, Mark's right down to the details, and that's when I asked you, how do you remember all those details? Well, please tell us how you remember all the details, Mark. I know why. I want you to explain.
I've got some memos here that I got in some boxes, okay? And you remember the little green light pads that the Army used to give you?
Uh-huh.
And they give you a full crap pen, and they say, you have to write stuff down. Well, that's what I did, and I just kept throwing them in boxes, and then shipped them back here to the States. Picked them up when I got it.
Wow.
Along with your camera film, right?
Yeah. So I got some intel here about everything. Even when I was at Brigade at the talk, I wrote some stuff down. Because see, I mentioned the Brigade talk because that place was a secret place. Nobody knew about this place. I didn't know about it all them years also. I didn't know. I just thought the Brigade commander was running this. I didn't know it was Brigade talk there. Okay, that was running it. All reports went to. And I didn't know that the CIA was in there wearing military uniforms, but they weren't actually military. They were CIA folks.
Right.
They didn't sneak around all the time in the talk. They just came in and bumped in, I just had to bump into one, there were a couple of them, and then say, hey, this, and this, and, bye, see you later.
I remember back DMZ because it was the brigade commander, 3rd Brigade commander, who signed off on the certificate at the time.
Yeah.
He was the authority. That probably really matters because it's a local award, sadly. And, too bad, years later, a lot of people would like to have it annotated on their DDT-14. Because, most of us didn't get anything for it. No CIBs. Well, that's you guys. You guys are infantry. You had a CIB thing. But,
Yes.
But, no combat patches, no nothing. And, of course, now they, for the, even for the non-infantry guys, CAV, we prefer to have our own thing. We don't want the combat action badge now, we're CAV. As everybody knows, I'm CAV. But seriously, though, it'd been kind of nice to get some recognition for what you did. Because once you left Korea, you better take that patch off, or, next year, your sergeant major be crying. So you can't, it's not authorized.
You're right.
And
that's one of the reasons.
I think that's one of the other things, and Levi, that's why Mark really pushes it, is me and him talk in the past. I think everybody does, is, for years, for 38 years, from July 27, 1953 to October 3rd, 1991, we had people up there constantly on DMZ, armed, loaded, at times engaged with the North Koreans and so forth. And, some incidents, as we know, were recognized. I think the last one was really recognized was the one that happened at Panmunjom.
Right.
What's his name? I would have to look it up, but gentlemen, that's when that Soviet pilot came across in the fall of '84, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved in that, yeah.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, well, and there's one gentleman received, I think he was an officer, received a Silver Star for that.
Yeah, the lieutenant that was there. He got a silver. I can't remember his name, but he got a Silver Star.
I can find it.
They got a Purple Heart.
So what year was the axe murder they had right there at Panmunjom? 76. Okay.
76.
Okay.
In fact, that's 1976 was the last time that Freedom Bridge was ever open. After that, they closed down Freedom Bridge. It was never used again.
That was a scary bridge, too.
Or not Freedom, I apologize. The Bridge of No Return.
Bridge of No Return, okay.
Yeah, my mistake. I'm being dyslexic again. But the Bridge of No Return closed down after that.
Okay.
So...
I remember years ago, if you look at the Bridge of No Return, they got them little pillars in front of it now.
Uh-huh.
Those used to never be there. I was there. I was up in the JSA there when that tree got cut. They used to have a tree stump out there.
Uh-huh.
Where they cut it. Now they got a concrete monument there and pillars in front of the Bridge of No Return.
Yeah,
things change.
I took a picture of the monument while I was there last year. Of course, I had a close up, but yeah, those metal poles to keep vehicle traffic from driving across. They weren't there. I don't know when they put those in. That's a good question.
Yeah, I remember that.
Notice the shrubbery. If you notice too, Mark, the shrubs are really overgrown now.
Yeah. That's because they don't patrol that area no more. I don't think they don't go up there and do anything out there with it.
I don't think so either. It's like the old bunker lines and the trench lines. They're gone.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah, they were gone last year. I was really surprised of it. If you look at some of my pictures when we were up there. Here I go again, mixing up my guard post, but we're up in the one on the. Come on, Mark. Collier Roulette, the one on the right. It's facing north. Is that I forget. Yeah, we were up there, and I took some pictures from there, including Freedom Bridge, and besides one, we went down on Freedom Bridge. But that's why I took the pictures over that, and a few of them from structures in North Korea, and naturally the MDL signs. But the shrubs are really overgrown, but yeah, the bunkers were totally gone. It's like, wow. It was just, the brush was high all the way down to the bridge. And I know me and Doug Voss talked about it. Doug said the same thing. He goes, "Wow, you never had brush, high there." So, of course, the guard towers have changed in time too. And hell, they had a road coming up to the guard tower, a nice paved blacktop road in one lane.
Yeah, that's what you were telling me, Thomas. Right? Because that used to be all dirt.
Yeah, well, I was surprised. I see this was like a paved road.
I seen that road go from dirt to a hard top road. We were on patrol one night right there at the intersection of
okay.
Olette and right there at JSA where you can go up to Olette. And they had some engineer equipment out there. We were setting up an ambush right in front of Collier.
Okay.
Facing the opposite direction away from Taesongdong.
Right.
And some little North Korean or somebody from the UNCMAC, from right there where the Sweet Swiss Village, kept going down there starting their vehicles and then run back over there. We shot that guy.
Oh, yeah.
We shot him dead or hell because I got tired of the talk telling me to go over there and turn the vehicles on. And my guys exposing themselves to the North Koreans. So when he came out the next time, we shot his ass. We didn't even have, we just shot his ass.
And it was a lot of that going on too. A lot of it going on. A lot of stuff wasn't being reported, back to headquarters, but it was a lot of stuff going on.
Well, and when engagements did happen, how many times did the North Koreans drag the bodies back? I mean, I'm sure if you look hard enough when investigated, you can find blood trails. There had to be blood trails. Yeah. But how many times were the wounded or killed dragged back to the north? So, Mark, you might say on one of your patrols before, too, not too long ago when we were talking that you had engagement, you're sure you got the guy, but he was gone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now the one you got with the Claymore, you still got a picture of it.
Oh, yeah, the one that's on the... Yeah, I was going to tell you, Levi, go to YouTube and punch in Mark Heathco videos. If you want to see the DMZ and stuff.
Okay.
Some of my pictures. They're there on YouTube. All you got to do is punch in Mark Heathco once you get to YouTube.
Well, you know.
I got all his videos attached. I forget the name of the one, but I got come on, not the video. You can make up a group of them on there on YouTube. And I got all Marks in there too, but you can find, because Mark's been to mine, Levi's been to mine, Mark.
Right.
You can find his videos through there. And in fact, that one video's on, or that one picture we talked, some of Mark's pictures are also in a couple of the videos that me and Doug Voss put together. I know the one with the feet hanging out of the hole in the ground there.
Yeah,
that was the Claymore one, wasn't it? The guys in the hole with the feet on the
behind that. That dude, we were in an ambush patrol set up on the third finger, which is the closest finger up there in Infiltration Alley. And this dude popped up out of a spider hole. That's the only thing I can say it was, okay? And thought he was going to run around and mess with our patrol. Well, I had 2 Claymores out there, and the colonel that I worked for said if they're within your kill zone of your Claymore, you don't need to call me, just pop them. And we popped the Claymores, and he fell back in the hole. And the next day, I talk about this freely now, but I got PTSD from all this stuff. So, it wear and tear on me over the years. But I mean, that dude, he got killed, and we had to strip him down and take all his documentation. And he looked through it, and he's got a wife and kid and stuff like that. You just killed another person's wife. You just took it from him, But I mean, he would have tried to take one of my guys' lives. So I figure I'm doing my job. So, but it still wears on you.
Oh yeah, it stays in your mind, at all time. You know that. And I can't even talk to someone unless they've been there. Unless they've been there, because when you talk to a civilian, they think you're lying or what's what. You know how it goes.
I was told when I went to VA to apply for disability. I told her I was DMZ and brought my 201 file in it and had stuff in it that shooting incidents in it. She goes, "Oh, this ain't nothing. There's never been a war in Korea."
Oh yeah, that's right.
We can't give you any benefits. And I'm like, what?
People who never been there got the impression that the war ended in '53.
Yes, that's true.
And as I've stated before numerous times, the major fighting ended in '53.
That's right. It haven't ended.
Not a treaty. And combat action still happen. If it's all fake, then why in the hell, back to you like everybody else has said, why in the hell were they issuing us live ammo?
Right. That's right.
We ain't doing a table 12, which is all out table of gunnery. But you ain't doing a full out run, live or at the live fire range at NTC at Fort Irwin, where you're doing a full out combat, training mode. We were on real missions. It was a real McCoy.
Yeah,
and it was no matter if you're 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s up to 91, we all saw it. And we've all talked about it amongst ourselves for the most part. And it was a real thing. My God, it just
That's kind of I'm on that one. I want to get these books pushed out so people get an understanding and realize that we weren't just on guard duty on some wall or guard duty, pulling guard and changing shift every 12 hours or something. We were out there ready to kill, to fight.
Right.
It was us or them. You know what I mean? And that's the reason for these books that I'm writing right now, to try to give everybody an understanding of what we did, the sacrifices that we made.
And cause Thomas and I was talking, Mark, we're gonna promote that book fully, on the station and on our show, and whatever we need to do, we're gonna get it promoted.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and I really do. I'm working towards, me and Al Garcia, we're working towards trying to get this onto the big screen. But
Okay.
we're running into dead ends, not dead ends. They're interested, but they're not willing to commit. And it's getting frustrating.
Right.
I mean, really frustrating.
And Mark, I
If you know
told.
anybody out there that's willing to take a chance, I think this would be great. There's never been a story like this done since the Korean War. The only thing is MASH, okay?
Right, and I told Garcia. And I told Garcia today, we have a movie producer that come on. Garcia, you remember?
we listened to it.
You listened to it today?
We both did. Me and Mark listened to it.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's great. And I'm gonna try to get in contact with him or sometime this week, cause we talk maybe about once or twice a week. And it's his associated producer on that, Lorraine Carrier. She's our station goodwill ambassador. She helping all our listeners out in, on the West Coast. She's good.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
she sounded like she connected. When I listened to the show, she sounded like she was connected. So
she's Tell me, she brought us in a lot of listeners, from our west on the West Coast. So we made her our goodwill ambassador, and she's also a goodwill ambassador for Little League baseball teams overseas.
Okay. I heard you on that. You got my baseball interest going.
Yeah, she and then what I do at my station, we sponsor some of the teams over there. What we do, we send them like equipment or some old equipment or some of the parks don't use anymore, and we ship it overseas to them, which is a high price. They charging like $600, ship merchandise, and but she came on and asked us for help, and we took it on, and then she returned us favors, by doing everything too.
Yeah.
So she's good. She's good. She'll get the word around too, Mark. You and Thomas and Garcia got to get with her. Yeah, you three got to get in touch with Lorraine. I'm getting you her telephone number, and she can make a lot of contact for you.
Cool. I really appreciate it because, man, I've been trying I've just been trying really hard, and me and Al have been putting hours and hours and hours into this, trying to mingle with people. And the biggest thing we get is that, Kim Jong-un, the president there, is now, people are afraid to touch it because of him, because of what happened with Sony.
Right.
And I said, it's a bunch of, crap, because it is. I mean, he can't. This is the United States. Who is going to mess with us? You know what I mean? I mean, they can, okay, but they're going to suffer the consequences.
Oh, that's big consequences. Yes, that's right.
You know what I mean?
That's huge.
I'm a patriot, and when I and I defended whoever I needed to defend.
That's true.
And I you know, no dust till not climbed, okay, and that, you know, hey.
That's,
my boots have been all over the place.
that's right, because you know Garcia was hardcore over there too. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember when you were there, we used to do like, and Al Garcia probably remembers this, we used to do like 2 or 3 25-mile road marches with full rucksack.
Yes. When we went down south, we went like we was up 3 or 4 months, I forgot, and then we'll go down south to Camp Custer. Then we do a lot of training once we go back down south. But I know up on the Z, I have stayed up on the GPs at least 40 days before I even came off.
So, hey, Levi, quick question. Me and Mark, this will answer the question we had.
Okay.
Me and Mark were wondering, so they did rotate you guys in and out of the DMZ too, like they did us in the
Yes.
70s and 80s. So.
Yes, I forgot it was 3 or 4 months. We do 3 or 4 up north. We come back down south. I think it was 3. Then we come down south, do 3. Once we down south, we do a lot of training, and the next 3 we go back up north again. But we rotate in and out. I think it's every 3 months we rotate in and out. Cause when we went down south, we went down to Camp Custer, and up north we said Camp Dodge. But all the units, infantry units, everybody was rotating.
Yeah, see, they were rotating too. We didn't know if me and Mark were discussing earlier whether you guys were permanently there or if you rotated
No,
in and out.
we rotated.
When you brought it up, that kind of answered the question. But see, except for the unit probably, well, I think it was 1-9 your time too.
Right.
1-9 Zoe was at Greaves during your time too, right? The Mantus?
Yes.
So because I know they had 2 or 3 companies there, then they had them a couple of places.
Yeah, you know they had 2 more GPs up there. I guess they changed the name too. They had GP Turner and GP Martin. And yeah, GP Martin, that was the biggest one they had on the hill back during the time I was there. But the one we
I think they changed
those to OPs. They call them OPs instead of GPs.
Yeah, they call I think
that's
OPs
what you're
now.
talking at. Instead of calling them GPs, they call them OPs.
OPs now, okay. They called GPs when we was there.
How big was the area that you had to patrol? I was told that it was like 18 miles. Patrols used to go in and come out at Liberty Bridge when you guys ran your patrols.
No, when we did, we didn't come back out of Liberty Bridge. We came out the same way. I can't remember. We go through the gates, the dirt road that lead us.
Yeah.
Cause my unit, we only thing we managed the barrier, and we also managed the GPs, which was Katie and Lucy, which is Collier and Goulet now. Yeah.
Don't tell them what the rocks
Yeah,
now.
yeah, and that's what the first and 38. Them the 2 that we did, and we had a certain part of the barrier fence. I think it from 123. I came to
128, yeah.
yes, there you go. That's the part that the first and 38, first and 38 had.
Okay.
And then I know the 7th division were coming up doing stuff, and then we also had patrols come out like from down south, and helping out a lot also too.
Yeah. Wow.
So we had a lot of that going on. It was a big shortage. It was a big shortage. That's why, if you was over in up north, then you get the E5 and E6 real quick, and Spec 4 or either Corporal. Because I changed rank twice in probably about 2 or 3 months apart because all the NCOs and junior officers they was over in Vietnam.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was getting ranked so fast, Thomas. My daddy thought I was lying because he was a World War II vet, right? But I said, "Oh, Dad, I got it." Cause I went to ACTA. I went to that school called Advanced Combat Training Academy also too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went that, but up then, you was getting ranked, very fast because it was a big shortage of, junior NCOs and junior officers during that time.
When I was there, in 78, when they got there, they didn't have, for some reason, a lot of E8s and E7s and 6s promotable.
Mm-hmm.
They got converted to Germany, and a lot of E5 and E4 promotables got pushed to Korea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's like there's a big politics, a little politics going on there with, you know, the personnel department of the Army.
Right.
I don't know why. I remember we had an AT platoon. They had 3 platoons, and we had an E6 in charge of them.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we had. We had E6, and then we had got short at one time even E5. So, you know, the hard 5 he was taking care of, but mostly it was the E6 instead of a second lieutenant. It was the E6 running everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, Mark, you got to remember, like we talked earlier, back in the 70s, especially after Vietnam, late 70s, the military was butchered so bad during the Carter regime. And, you know, with the drawdown, of course, that happens after every major, you know, conflict. I mean, you know, if you studied the Korean War, we were not ready to go in. In fact, our intel was going in.
Right.
You know, it's like when they sent in Task Force Smith, you know, about 500 men, a battalion, short battalion. You know, MacArthur's intelligence wasn't too good when we walked in. Of course, the Army was not prepared to go to war either. So those poor guys that came out of Japan, which was the 24th and 1st Cav.
Right.
When they initially went into Korea, they took a beating because they were not ready. That's why come on the perimeter around Busan.
Right.
I just went brain dead what that was called. I can't think of the perimeter right now.
Okay.
But
Thomas, you know, time to slipped up on us.
Yes.
It went so quick. And you know what we need to do? We need to do this conversation again next week. You know, get everyone back, and also.
Fredo hasn't had much of a chance to speak this round, but the big part was getting Mark on him about the
right.
books too, though.
Garcia, you know, you got to be back on next week, and get everything out. Okay.
Sure, that's no problem.
Okay, so we got to have you back on next week, and like I said, you know, once we get talking, man, we can talk 3 hours or 4 hours with this.
Oh, yeah. I didn't recall all night.
And also, you know, that's what Thomas and I were trying to do, get all the soldiers in Korea. You know, we're going to try to make this the best, the veteran show that's going on right now.
Yeah, well, I think we're all, especially, all of us, and Levi gracefully asking me to be a co-host on the show permanently. But I think one thing, me and Levi both being DMZ vets, but I think one thing's kind of nice to, since we're starting this a little different than what Levi's done in the past, it doesn't hurt to pick a time in military and take a hard look at it and get the word out. Eventually down the road we can hit other things, whether it's Vietnam and, and so forth.
Oh, yes.
Grenada, Afghanistan, etc., and all the different time periods of wars to get other vets on. But since we're all DMZ vets, I don't think it hurts Levi to gear in towards the DMZ. It'd be one of the first ones to educate people on because it's one of the least known ones to people.
Right.
Like we said before, people were killed. American lives were lost up there. A lot of people don't realize that. That last thing they heard about, PFC white. Well, yeah, great. That don't deserve it. Sadly, from St. Louis. And, but I think that's all of us are trying to do. And, all 4 of us is we want people to know,
right.
what we did. We're not trying to brag. We just wanted to quit hiding it. All we're asking is to recognize soldiers because, like Mark said, you look at us now, I think I'm the youngest out of the bunch of the 4 of us here now. I'm going on 54.
Yeah, and you was granddad over there because you've been over there a long time, too.
Yeah,
I only did 13 months. That's all I did.
Is that why my eyes are getting slanted? No, but I guess I better shut up, and so we need to go ahead and probably end the show.
Okay.
I know we're out of time, but I say we get on back at the same time. I agree, Levi.
Okay. And, we tell everybody that... Okay, we tell everybody else we know, and get them to, call and join in.
By the way, just so everybody knows, in reference to Mark, I'm helping him, but we got a new Facebook page started geared towards Mark's books. and it's called Call Sign Purple 3, named after his first book.
Okay.
So Mark will be gradually updating it, right, Mark? With info.
Yeah, I will.
I'm giving him trouble. And, but we do have the Facebook page on there, and I'm working with Mark to get on Instagram, too. I'll get that. I'm going to get that going probably tonight.
Okay.
Also, so we can start, and especially on Instagram, Mark can post out his own pictures, which some may relate to the book.
Okay.
You know, to his book. Yeah. So, but Instagram, when I get it done, I'll probably use the same call. You'll be able to find on Instagram as Call Sign Purple 3. So, and I just figured we go with the first book because he got different names. You know, like Bob Kerr's got We Were Soldiers series.
Right.
In this case with Mark's, I figured we just go with Call Sign Purple 3. I'm getting tongue-tied now on it. So,
okay.
But just let everybody know, and I'm working. I know. I'm just saying I'm working with Mark to help him so we can try to get word out more with the books. So,
Okay. Levi.
But
I appreciate your help, Tom, and Levi, I really appreciate what you're doing for me. You just let me get some airtime on here.
Okay. Hey, don't worry, Thomas and I say, you know, we gonna, any way that we can do, we gonna sponsor, we gonna get it out, and then we got my buddy Garcia with us too, so we in good shape.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Spirit.
All right.
Spirit back going here.
There you go. Well, you know, until next week, we'll be back on, and us four will be here again. We hope we have a lot more listeners and people participating. So, to all my listeners and to my veteran brothers, good night.